When you begin to live as though your every step is guided by a divine mission, the entire universe rearranges itself to support your movement. Most people wander through life as if they are lost in a fog, reacting to circumstances, swayed by fears, trapped in the hypnosis of appearances. But the one who awakens to the realization that they are not here by accident, that they were sent, yes, sent, by an unseen intelligence with purpose and intention, becomes a different kind of being altogether. You start to move differently. You begin to speak with quiet authority. You no longer plead with life, you command it, not with arrogance, but with the certainty of one who knows they are backed by the infinite. To act as if you are on a mission from God is to remember that you are not here to chase things, to beg for opportunities, or to compete for scraps of attention. You are here to express the infinite mind that dreamed you into being. The mission is not given to you by the world. It is not a career, a relationship, or a title. The mission is you, the state of consciousness you embody, the energy you radiate, the invisible frequency you hold that shapes every event in your experience. You are not waiting for the mission, you are it. Every thought you think, every assumption you nurture, every feeling you persist in is the divine act itself. When you begin to act as if you're on a mission from the divine, hesitation dissolves. Fear becomes irrelevant. You stop asking, what should I do? And instead begin to feel, who am I being? Because you understand that who you are being now is what calls forth everything in your life. The world outside bends to reflect the inner stance you assume. Your outer mission, your destiny, your purpose, all unfold naturally when you dwell in the consciousness of one who knows they are sent by God. The world becomes the stage, and you, the conscious actor, bring the invisible script of imagination into visible form. You do not need to explain yourself to anyone, nor convince anyone of your path. The power that animates galaxies moves through you. The breath that sustains creation fills your lungs. The thoughts that pass through your mind are creative laws clothed in silence. You are never alone. You are never unsupported. You are, right now, the living embodiment of divine intention in motion. When you act from that knowing, doors open that others call miracles. Paths appear where logic says there are none. People show up at the exact moment you need them. The invisible hand of God begins to sculpt your life like an artist molding clay. But you must first believe, not merely intellectually, but with your whole being, that you are on a mission. You must see yourself as chosen, not in the sense of superiority, but in the awareness that life has singled you out for an expression no one else can fulfill. There is something within you that only you can bring into manifestation. That desire burning in your heart, that vision that will not leave you alone, is the whisper of God calling you to remember who you are. To act as if you're on a mission is to act as if the outcome is already guaranteed, because it is. Creation is finished. The end exists now in imagination. You are merely walking through the bridge of events that leads from your present awareness to the fulfillment already prepared for you. Every moment is a sacred appointment. Every encounter is divinely arranged. When you see the world through this lens, you stop labeling things as good or bad. You understand that everything is conspiring to awaken you to your true nature. The delay, the rejection, the challenge, all are threads in the divine tapestry of your mission. The ego complains, "Why is this happening to me?" The awakened soul whispers, "This too is part of my calling." Everything happens outside the law of your consciousness. Every event, every person, every coincidence is the echo of your inner state returning to you for recognition. To live this way is to dwell in profound faith. Not faith in something external, but faith in your own divine imagination. The moment you assume that you are divinely guided, the universe begins to obey that assumption. Circumstances that once seemed impossible now rearrange effortlessly. The right words flow from your mouth when you speak. The right people feel drawn to your presence. The energy you radiate becomes magnetic because you are no longer acting from fear or need. You are acting from assignment. You are moving with divine confidence, not because of what you see, but because of what you know to be true within. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the sacred recognition that you and the source of all creation are one. The mission from God is not something handed down to you like a job description. It is the awakening to your divine identity. The moment you accept that you are sent, you begin to live with an unshakable sense of direction. The world might not understand you. It may call you strange, delusional, or even mad, but history has always been shaped by those who dared to live as if they were divinely commissioned. The prophets, the dreamers, the innovators, all acted from a place of unseen conviction. They believed in a reality that could not yet be seen, and because they believed, it became so. The mind that doubts destroys its own miracles before they bloom. But the one who believes, who persists in the inner knowing that their mission is sacred, cannot fail. The universe will bend itself backward to fulfill the vision held by such a soul. You must learn to speak from the end, feel from the end, live from the end. Every word you utter is an affirmation of your mission. Every thought you entertain either strengthens or weakens the vibration of your calling. When you say, "I am divinely guided," the entire universe conspires to prove you right. When you say, "I don't know what to do," the universe must reflect confusion. It is not what happens to you, but what you assume about it that determines your experience. So assume the role of the divine emissary. Walk into every room as though the infinite has entered with you, not with pride, but with reverence. Let your eyes reveal the calm authority of one who knows they are backed by unseen power. Let your silence carry more weight than the noise of others' opinions. Let your presence itself be a sermon to those who have forgotten who they are. You are not a mere mortal hoping for favor. You are the divine favor expressed as a human life. Every act of creation begins with assumption. When you assume that you are divinely sent, you begin to carry yourself differently. Your inner conversations change. You no longer think, "I hope this works out." You think it is already done. And because that feeling of doneness is felt so deeply, the outer world has no choice but to conform. The mission becomes effortless because it is no longer driven by egoic ambition, but by divine inevitability. You become like a river flowing toward the ocean. It doesn't struggle to reach its destination. It simply moves with the current of its nature. You must guard your inner speech with vigilance, for it is the sacred script that writes your destiny. Speak to yourself as the divine being you truly are. If you say, "I am blessed," you activate the vibration of blessing. If you say, "I am guided," you magnetize guidance. If you say, "I am on a mission from God," then every fiber of your being begins to align with divine orchestration. Life becomes a grand symphony, and you, the conductor of infinite harmony, wield the baton of imagination. Do not wait for evidence. The evidence appears after the assumption, not before. The invisible always precedes the visible. The unseen cause always precedes the seen effect. When you act as though your every step is directed by divine intelligence, that intelligence begins to make itself known in ways that defy logic. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, speaking words you didn't plan, meeting people who seem like answers to unspoken prayers. Coincidence fades, and purpose takes its place. You must understand the mission is not something you complete, it is something you embody. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to reveal the perfection already present within it by assuming the consciousness of love, wisdom, and abundance. As you embody these states, the outer world reshapes itself to mirror them. That is the divine order. As within, so without. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. The power is not in striving, but in being. Being is the ultimate act of faith. To act as if you're on a mission from God means you never again entertain the thought of failure. You may encounter temporary appearances of resistance, but you know they are shadows cast by old beliefs dissolving. You bless them and persist in your vision. You do not fight circumstances. You transcend them by feeling from a higher state. You know that nothing external can oppose the divine will expressed through you. When fear arises, you remind yourself, I am not alone in this. I am sustained by the infinite. And that awareness dissolves fear, like sunlight melting fog. You begin to feel an invisible companionship. It is as if something walks beside you, speaks through you, arranges the world around you. You realize that every prayer you've ever whispered was heard before you even spoke it, because it was God whispering to himself through you. The mission is a dance between the seen and unseen, between form and formlessness. You, as consciousness, are the meeting point of heaven and earth. Through you, the divine becomes visible. Through your imagination, God dreams creation anew. Every great accomplishment in history was the product of someone who dared to act as if they were chosen. Not because they were special, but because they believed. The belief itself was the divine spark. They saw the invisible, heard the inaudible, and achieved the impossible. You too possess that same power, the same breath that moved through the prophets, the mystics, the masters, moved through you now. It is not distant. It is immediate, intimate, present. You have only to claim it. When you awaken each morning, remind yourself, this day is holy. I am not here by chance. I am here on assignment. And then walk into the day as one who expects miracles, not as superstition, but as natural law. For miracles are simply the logical outcome of living in alignment with divine consciousness. To act as if you're on a mission from God is to live with reverent expectancy, to know that everything is working for your good, even when appearances suggest otherwise. There will come moments when you are tempted to doubt. The outer world will show signs of delay or opposition. But you must not waver. The mission is not tested by comfort, it is refined by contrast. Every obstacle is an invitation to deepen your conviction. When life seems silent, it is not absence, it is incubation. The seed is taking root in the unseen soil of consciousness. Persist in the feeling of fulfillment. Refuse to be moved by appearances. Speak to your own soul. I know who I am. I know why I am here. I walk in divine authority. That inner conversation becomes the decree that shapes reality. When you live as if you're on a mission from God, you no longer measure your progress by time or results. You begin to sense a rhythm, a divine timing where everything unfolds with precision. What once felt delayed now feels perfectly orchestrated. You realize that what the world calls waiting is not idleness. It is gestation. The unseen reality of your fulfilled mission is forming behind the veil of appearances, and your faith is the womb in which it grows. When you hold to the end in your mind, when you assume the tone of the accomplished fact, life becomes a sacred unfolding rather than a frantic chase. There is a power in this assumption that cannot be overstated. To act as if you are sent by God is to align yourself with infinite intelligence. You begin to hear the quiet whispers of intuition more clearly. You are guided not by logic but by knowing. This knowing does not shout, it simply is. It tells you, turn here, and something within you trusts. It says, speak now, and the words flow effortlessly. It nudges you to rest, to wait, to move, and you obey, not as a servant of fear, but as a vessel of divine harmony. This obedience is not submission, it is participation in creation itself. The universe delights in cooperation. When you say yes to divine guidance, reality bends in your favor. You start to notice that every person you meet mirrors a part of your consciousness. Some reflect your faith, others your doubt, but all serve the purpose of awakening. You realize that you never meet anyone by accident. Each encounter is an exchange of energy, a divine appointment to remind you of who you are. The one who criticizes you reveals where you still seek validation. The one who praises you reflects the part of you that has learned self-love. The one who challenges you offers you the chance to stand firm in your knowing. In this awareness, you stop reacting and start creating. You bless every encounter, for you see God in every face, including your own. You begin to feel your life as a vibration, a frequency that broadcasts into the infinite field of creation. When you dwell in the feeling of being on divine mission, your vibration becomes pure, unwavering, radiant. That frequency calls forth experiences, people, and opportunities that match it precisely. You are never attracting through effort, you are attracting through embodiment. Like a tuning fork, you resonate only with what you are. And so the most powerful way to fulfill your mission is not to strive harder, but to feel deeper. Feel the end. Feel the glory of the fulfilled desire. Feel the peace of knowing it is done. That feeling is prayer, and prayer is the language of creation. In this divine awareness, you begin to see the difference between action that is inspired and action that is forced. Forced action is born of fear and separation. It struggles, worries, doubts. Inspired action flows like breath. It feels inevitable, graceful, effortless. When you act from inspiration, you are not trying to make something happen. You are allowing what already exists in imagination to crystallize in form. There is no strain, only alignment. You are moved by an unseen current that carries you exactly where you need to be. And the more you trust that current, the faster your world transforms. People will sense something different about you. They may not know what it is, but they will feel your energy. You will not need to advertise your power. It will announce itself in silence. Doors that were once closed will open without you knocking. Opportunities will arise seemingly out of nowhere. This is not coincidence. It is correspondence. The outer world must match the inner state. The invisible cause must express its visible effect. You will realize that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. When you truly understand this, you stop begging the world for permission to shine. You stop seeking validation from others. You stop explaining yourself to those who cannot see what you see. Your mission does not require their approval. It requires your faith. You do not need anyone to understand you when you understand yourself. You walk with the quiet power of one who knows that divine intelligence cannot fail. Every breath becomes a declaration. I am sent. I am guided. I am chosen for this. This state of consciousness cannot be faked, but it can be assumed. At first, you may not feel it deeply. The mind may resist. Old stories may whisper, "Who do you think you are?" But persist. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Speak as if it were already so. Walk as if your steps are lit by divine light. The feeling will grow stronger each day until it becomes second nature. You will look back and realize that the old self, the one who doubted, who feared, who waited for a sign, has dissolved. You have become the sign. You are the miracle. And then something beautiful happens. You begin to feel compassion for everyone still asleep. You understand that every soul is on their own mission, though most have forgotten it. You no longer judge them for their blindness, you bless them. You see through their fear and anger and recognize the divine cry beneath it. Remind me who I am. And because you live as one who remembers, your mere presence becomes a reminder. You become the lighthouse that guides others home. Not through words alone, but through the vibration of being. Living this way requires surrender. Not surrender to fate, but surrender to the deeper intelligence within you. The ego fears surrender because it believes it will lose control. But in truth, surrender is freedom. You stop trying to push the river and you let it carry you. You realize that your mission unfolds with or without your constant management. You are not the doer, you are the vessel through which the doing happens. When you understand this, anxiety evaporates. You no longer wonder how things will work out, you simply know that they will. You may find that solitude becomes sacred to you. Moments of stillness are not emptiness, they are communion. In the silence, you hear the divine voice that speaks, not in words but in feeling. It reminds you that you are loved, guided, supported. It gives you visions, ideas, impulses that shape the outer world. The greatest revelations come not in noise but in quiet awareness. Sit with that awareness. Let it fill you. Feel the divine presence within your chest like a radiant sun. It needs no validation, no proof. It simply shines. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself, God does not doubt its creations. The infinite does not question its own perfection, so why should you? You were conceived in divine imagination and sent forth to reveal its glory. Every time you choose faith over fear, you honor that imagination. Every time you persist in love when hatred tempts you, you glorify the divine. Every time you stand firm in your knowing while the world wavers, you fulfill your mission. The outer world will mirror your inner certainty. Those who once dismissed you will begin to respect you. Those who once overlooked you will now seek your wisdom. But by then, you will no longer care for their approval, because your joy comes from alignment, not applause. The mission itself becomes the reward. You find fulfillment not in what you gain, but in what you give through your state of being. You begin to realize that service is not something you do, it is what you are. Every smile, every kind word, every silent blessing becomes a form of divine service. You must remember, your mission may not look grand in the eyes of the world. It may not involve fame, recognition, or wealth, but in the unseen realm, it moves mountains. Sometimes your greatest act is unseen. A prayer, a thought, a gesture of love that ripples through consciousness and transforms lives you will never meet. When you act from the awareness of divine purpose, no act is small. The smallest expression of love carries cosmic significance. And yet abundance will naturally surround you. You cannot walk in divine alignment and lack. The universe cannot withhold from itself. The supply flows wherever the consciousness of worthiness is present. When you know who you are, prosperity follows like a shadow. Not because you chase it, but because you radiate it. The mission includes provision. The one who is sent is always sustained. Have you ever seen the sun beg for light, the ocean beg for water? So too, the one who walks in divine purpose never begs for supply. It flows effortlessly because the source and the substance are one. You will begin to notice how your thoughts manifest rapidly. The gap between imagination and experience will shorten. Be mindful, therefore, of what you think and feel. Guard your mind like a sacred temple. Let only divine ideas enter. Speak only of what you wish to create. Think only in alignment with your mission. When you feel fear, do not condemn it. Transmute it. Say to yourself, even this fear is part of my awakening, and watch as it dissolves into understanding. Your mission is eternal. It transcends this lifetime. Each act of faith plants seeds in consciousness that bloom across generations. The love you embody now becomes the atmosphere your descendants breathe. The wisdom you awaken to today becomes the collective memory of humanity tomorrow. You are not merely living for yourself, you are living as the eternal dream of God, expressing through time and form. When you live as if you are on a mission from God, you no longer look to the world for validation because you realize the world is your own reflection. You understand that the only approval you ever needed was your own. You begin to look inward and say, am I aligned with the truth of who I am? And that becomes your compass. The voice of doubt that once screamed so loudly begins to lose its power, replaced by a quiet confidence that hums through every cell of your being. You stop rushing because you know divine timing is never late. You stop competing because you realize there is no competition in destiny. What is meant for you is yours, and nothing and no one can take it from you. You will begin to move through life with a divine ease. Things that once frightened you no longer have the same hold. Situations that used to trigger you now feel like opportunities to exercise your faith. You begin to see that everything, absolutely everything, is conspiring for your awakening. The betrayals, the disappointments, the losses, all of them were catalysts. They broke open the shell of illusion so you could glimpse the light within. The pain you once cursed becomes sacred because it pushed you toward remembrance. You begin to thank even your enemies, for they revealed the power you didn't know you had. When you truly embody your mission, you no longer live in reaction, you live in creation. You are not a product of your past, you are the architect of your now. You understand that imagination is the only reality, that what you hold inwardly as true must one day appear outwardly as form. This is not theory, it is law. When you feel something real enough within, the universe becomes its obedient servant. The outer world is not separate from you, it is your mirror. And once you realize this, life becomes an exhilarating game of conscious creation. To act as if you're on a mission from God is to live in a permanent state of expectancy, not anxious waiting, but peaceful knowing. You expect the good. You expect the miraculous. You expect alignment. You expect the universe to surprise you in ways that delight you. You walk through the day as though everything is conspiring to reveal your divine nature, because it is. This expectancy creates a magnetic field around you. People feel it without understanding why. They are drawn to your peace, to your certainty, to the light in your eyes. You don't chase, you attract. You don't plead, you allow. You don't strive, you know. In this knowing, you begin to feel the unity of all things. You see that God is not out there but here, in the breath, in the thought, in the movement, in the silence. Every sound, every color, every heartbeat vibrates with the same divine frequency. You are not an individual struggling against the world. You are the world, experiencing itself through individuality. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. This realization dissolves all loneliness, all lack, all separation. You look at a stranger and feel love. You look at nature and see your own reflection. You look within and realize you were never apart from God. You were always the expression of God. And so your mission becomes clear: to remember and to remind, to awaken and to awaken others simply by your being. You don't have to preach or persuade. You simply radiate truth through your consciousness. When you walk into a room, people feel peace. When you speak, your words carry resonance because they come from the silence of knowing. When you act, your movements feel effortless, guided, precise. You are not trying to make things happen. You are allowing what is already ordained to unfold. The world bends to your consciousness as naturally as the tide responds to the moon. There will be moments when your faith is tested, not because you are being punished, but because you are being strengthened. The universe will not hand you difficulty to destroy you. It will offer it to deepen you. Every test is an invitation to rise higher, to prove to yourself that the power within you is greater than any circumstance outside you. When opposition appears, remind yourself, this too is part of the plan. The very presence of challenge means the expansion of your power. The mission requires growth, and growth often wears the disguise of difficulty. But you will learn to smile at it, knowing it is the pressure that reveals the diamond within. Do not underestimate the power of your imagination. It is the womb of creation, the sacred space where God dreams through you. When you imagine with feeling, you are creating worlds. You are shaping timelines. You are altering the flow of destiny. Every vision you hold in faith begins to ripple across the unseen, drawing to you the people, places, and events that fulfill it. You are never merely daydreaming, you are commanding the universe through vibration. This is why you must choose your thoughts wisely. You are always on broadcast. Every assumption sends out a signal, and that signal calls forth matching realities. When you act as if you're on a divine mission, your broadcast is pure, consistent, unstoppable. There is a quiet intensity that builds within you as you live this truth. You begin to feel an energy rising in your body, a warmth, a radiance that seems to flow from the heart outward. It is life force, divine presence, spirit made visible. The more you honor it, the stronger it becomes. You start to realize that miracles are not extraordinary, they are natural. They are simply what happens when resistance dissolves. When you stop doubting, when you stop fearing, when you stop limiting what God can do through you, the miraculous becomes the ordinary rhythm of your life. And yet, in this awareness, humility deepens. You understand that the power flowing through you is not yours in the personal sense. It is the power of the divine expressing itself through the channel of your individuality. You are both the instrument and the song. Pride vanishes because you see that there is no separate self to boast. You become grateful, profoundly, endlessly grateful. Gratitude becomes your natural state, not because you are trying to be positive, but because you can't help it. You look around and see evidence of divine orchestration everywhere. You begin to realize that even the smallest moments, sunlight through a window, laughter with a friend, the stillness of dawn, are expressions of God's grace. This gratitude magnetizes even more beauty into your life. You begin to see abundance as a constant current, not a sporadic gift. The more grateful you are, the more the current flows. Because gratitude is the signal that says, I am aware of my blessings. Awareness itself is expansion. You can only receive what you recognize. So when you notice and celebrate the divine in everything, everything expands in response. Your relationships deepen, your creativity flourishes, your intuition sharpens, and your days feel like sacred rituals. There will come a point when you look back at your old life and barely recognize yourself. The one who once worried, doubted, and chased now walks with serenity. You no longer ask for signs, you are the sign. You no longer wait for miracles, you live as one. The world that once seemed chaotic now appears perfectly ordered, and you smile, knowing that nothing was ever random. Every turn, every delay, every heartbreak was a thread woven into the masterpiece of your awakening. Your mission may lead you into places that feel uncomfortable, for light must often enter the darkness to reveal itself. But you will walk through such spaces untouched, because the divine within you cannot be harmed. When you hold the awareness of your divine origin, no circumstance can overpower you. Fear becomes an illusion, an echo of a mind that no longer governs you. You act boldly, speak truthfully, love fearlessly, to forgive easily, for you see that nothing real can ever be lost. The world begins to respond to your energy. Strangers become allies, enemies become teachers, delays become protection. Every apparent obstacle turns into an invisible bridge to your next revelation. The old rules of effort and struggle no longer apply. You are living by higher law now. The law of assumption, the law of faith, the law of vibration. You do not wrestle with the world, you rest in the knowing that creation is finished and everything is unfolding for your highest good. You do not wrestle with the world, you rest in the knowing that